Picture this. You wake up in a morning. You check your phone. And your retirement account has lost 40% of its value overnight. Your home is worth less than what you owe on it. The company you work for just announced layoffs. Your savings, the money you spent 20 years building, is evaporating in real time. And there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. This is not fiction. This is exactly what happened to 30 million Americans in September of 2008. Entire lifetimes of work erased in a matter of weeks. Families who did everything right, saved, invested, followed every piece of conventional advice, destroyed. Not by their own mistakes, but by a crash they never saw coming. And here is what should terrify you. The warning signs that preceded 2008 are appearing again right now. Only this time, they are bigger. And most people are making the exact same mistakes. This is the Elite Economics, where every video will change how you see money, history, and the systems controlling your life. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss what is coming next. Have you already started preparing for the next crash, or are you still hoping it will not happen? Tell me below. Before we talk about protection, you need to understand something that Wall Street will never tell you. Crashes are not accidents. They are not surprises. They are the inevitable result of a cycle that has repeated itself for over 300 years. The cycle works like this. After every crash, governments flood the economy with cheap money to stimulate recovery. That cheap money inflates asset prices. Stocks rise. Real estate rises. Everyone feels wealthy. Confidence turns into greed. Greed turns into recklessness. And recklessness builds a bubble so fragile that a single shock, a pandemic, a bank failure, a policy mistake, brings the entire structure down. It happened in 1929. It happened in 2000. It happened in 2008. And right now, global debt has surpassed $300 trillion. That is not a typo. 300 trillion. Governments are spending far beyond what their economies produce. Central banks printed more money in the last 15 years than in the entire previous history of modern banking. The bubble is inflated. The cycle is running. And the only question is whether you will be standing when it pops or buried underneath it. Now here is the part that changes everything. Because the crash itself is not what destroys people. Their own response to the crash destroys them. And that response is driven by three fatal mistakes that repeat every single cycle. The first is concentration. A family in Phoenix in 2007 had their entire net worth in their home. When housing prices collapsed, they did not lose an investment. They lost everything. No backup. No second asset. No recovery path. The second is debt. In good times, debt feels comfortable, manageable, even smart. But when your income drops and your asset values fall at the same time, debt becomes a cage. In 2008, people did not lose their homes because prices fell. They lost their homes because they owed more than those homes were worth and could not make the payments. The third is panic. When markets crash, the average investor sells at the absolute bottom. They lock in losses that would have fully recovered within 2 to 3 years. Fear becomes the most expensive decision they will ever make. The crash does not pick who wins and who loses. These three mistakes do. And every one of them is avoidable if you act before the crash, not during it. So what do? You build shields. And the first shield is the most urgent one. Eliminate debt. Every dollar you owe is a chain. In good times, you do not feel the weight. In a crash, it drags you under. Think about two families in 2008. One owned their home outright. The other owed $300,000 on a mortgage. Both homes lost value. But only one family lost their home. The difference was not the crash. The difference was the debt. Start now. Not next month. Not next year. Now. Pay down the highest interest debt first. Stop financing things that lose value the moment you buy them. Every dollar of debt you remove before the next downturn is a dollar of freedom you hand to your future self. Debt is the first thing that kills in every financial crisis. Kill it first. But eliminating debt is defense. The second shield turns you from a survivor into a winner. And that shield is cash. Not a few $100s tucked into a savings account. A real reserve. 6 to 12 months of living expenses. Untouched. Sitting in a place you will not access unless the world is on fire. Cash does two things no other asset can do during a crash. First, it keeps you breathing. When layoffs hit, when businesses close, when income disappears, cash buys you the single most valuable thing in a crisis: time. Second, and this is what separates the wealthy from everyone else, cash lets you buy when the world is selling. Crashes do not destroy value. They transfer it. Real estate, stocks, entire businesses, all go on sale during a collapse. But the only people who can walk in and buy are the ones holding cash. Warren Buffett was not lucky in 2008. He was liquid. While the world panicked, he deployed billions into companies selling at half their real value. That was not genius. That was preparation meeting opportunity. Build your reserve before the opportunity arrives. The third shield is the one that has outlasted every empire, every currency, and every financial system in human history. Hard assets. Gold, silver, real estate, commodities. Things that exist in the physical world and cannot be printed, deleted, or inflated away. Paper wealth is a promise. And promises break. Ask the people of Venezuela who watched their currency lose 99% of its value in 5 years. Ask the people of Weimar Germany who burned banknotes for heat because the paper was worth more as fuel than as money. When governments destroy currencies, and history shows they always eventually do, the only wealth that survives is the wealth you can hold in your hand. Gold has preserved purchasing power for over 5,000 years. Every fiat currency ever created has either failed or lost the majority of its value. That is not opinion. That is the historical record. You do not need to go all in. A sensible 10 to 20% allocation to hard assets is the insurance policy that every major crisis in history has validated. The people who owned it survived. The ones who dismissed it did not. The fourth shield attacks the vulnerability that most people refuse to acknowledge until it is too late. Their dependence on a single paycheck. One income source is not security. It is a single point of failure dressed up as stability. When that one source disappears, and in a crash it often does, there is nothing beneath you. Consider two people entering a recession. One earns everything from a single corporate job. The other earns from a job, a rental property, a dividend portfolio, and a freelance skill. The first person loses their job and faces financial catastrophe. The second person loses their job and adjusts. Start building secondary income now. Not after the layoff notice. Not after the market drops. Now. Dividends. Rental income. A skill you can sell independently of any employer. The goal is not to replace your salary overnight. The goal is to make sure that when one stream dries up, you do not drown. The fifth shield is the only one that no crash, no government, and no market collapse can ever take from you. What you know. Warren Buffett does not stay calm during crashes because he has more money than you. He stays calm because he has more understanding than you. He knows what a crash is. He knows how cycles work. He knows the panic will end and the math will reassert itself. Every hour you invest in understanding how money works, how markets cycle, how economies rise and collapse, is an hour that makes you harder to destroy. Financial education is not optional preparation. It is the foundation underneath every other shield. Without it, the other four will eventually crack. Here is the truth that no one wants to sit with. Every economic crash in history did the same thing. It did not destroy wealth. It moved wealth. From the unprepared to the prepared. From the emotional to the disciplined. From the people who trusted the system to protect them to the people who built their own protection. The next crash is not a possibility. It is a mathematical certainty. The only variable left is you. Which side of the transfer will you be on? The side that loses everything? Or the side that was ready before the first headline hit? If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. The Elite Economics. History has the answers. I will show you where to look.